This is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
Okay, here we go. It is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C., a sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. A lot of things to go over today. Let's start with this. NBA Power Rankings. Let's kick it off there. Let's go top 10 only. We're not going to go through the entire list. Let's just go with the top 10 only for the NBA Power Rankings. Let's see how the NBA season's going so far. Been kind of exciting. Seen a lot of things that have been kind of interesting. Some developments that pretty much I expected some, even though I'm seeing some development. And of course, in this instance, I'm referring to the Phoenix Suns. I don't know if they're going to be able to sustain it. However, looks like they might do a little better than what I originally anticipated. So here we go. Number 10 in the NBA Power Rankings, Dallas Mavericks. So the Mavs are on a 0-3 run since Luka Doncic went down with a left knee and ankle sprain, failing to crack triple digits in 2 of those 3 losses. Dallas Mavericks still coming in number 10, however, but suffering a little slump as of late. Coming in at number 9, the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks started to look more like themselves this week, winning 3 games in a row for the first time this season as their starting lineup starts to find some stability. Chris Middleton returned from his absence after testing positive for COVID-19. Bobby Portis posted back-to-back double-doubles, and Jrue Holiday has started to find his footing defensively. Milwaukee Bucks coming in at number 9. Number 8, you got the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic, a.k.a. the Joker, was on a tear with 35 points, 16 rebounds, and 30 points, 10 rebounds in consecutive games, only to see Denver lose to Dallas and Philadelphia. Making the matters much worse is that Jokic injured a wrist and has missed the past 2 games. Denver Nuggets coming in at number 8. Number 7, Washington Wizards. For only the second time this season, the Wizards lost 2 games in a row when they dropped games at Charlotte and Miami, but Washington rebounded with a 3-point win against the Heat on Saturday and have a rematch against Charlotte on Monday. Washington Wizards coming in at number 7. Number 6, Miami Heat. Miami has won 4 of its past 5 and is doing so behind the all-star play of Jimmy Butler. The talented swingman is averaging 25 points a game this month and has driven a talented Heat squad back towards the top of the East, the Miami Heat coming in at number 6. Number 5, the Utah Jazz. They're 11-5 record-wise, and the Utah bench, featuring the top 2 finishers in last season's 6th Man of the Year voting, got significantly deeper and more experienced with Rudy Gay. After missing the first month while recovering from heel surgery, Gay starred in his Jazz debut, scoring 20 points, 5 of 6 from 3 in 18 minutes during Thursday's win over the Raptors. Utah Jazz coming in at number 5. Chicago Bulls coming in at number 4. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine rank 1st and 2nd respectively in the NBA in total points scored during the 4th quarter this season. Their excellence during the final period is one of the main reasons the Bulls begin this week tied for the best record in the Eastern Conference. And again, the Chicago Bulls coming in at number 4. Number 3, the Brooklyn Nets. While garnering little attention, Brooklyn continues to churn out wins as the Nets are now victors in 10 of their past 12 after Saturday's win in Detroit without Kevin Durant. But Tuesday's blowout loss at home to the Warriors is a reminder that despite their win total, the Nets are still not at the level they expected themselves to reach this season. Brooklyn Nets coming in at number 3. Number 2, the Phoenix Suns. With a win against the Nuggets on Sunday night, the Suns won their 12th game in a row this season, the best mark in the NBA in the early part of the 2021-22 season. The 12-game streak marks the 4th longest in Suns franchise history, behind separate 15-game and 17-game streaks in 2006 and 2007, and a 14-game streak in 1992. Number 1, no surprise here, Golden State Warriors. The Warriors just keep on rolling at a league best 15-2 after Sunday's win over the Raptors. They continue to get contributions up and down the roster, but one thing to keep an eye on is the health of veteran swingman Andre Iguodala. The 37-year-old has missed 3 straight games because of knee soreness, and he has been a steadying presence for the group that benefits a great deal from his leadership on and off the floor. So there you go. You got the NBA power rankings so far this year. Now, let's get into NFL results, and then I have something else I want to talk to you about in regards to the NFL, which is going to be where we are as of today at this moment in regards to the playoffs. Let's start off with the results. All right, so what do we got here? We have, just making sure I'm looking at the right stuff here before I move too far forward. All right, here we go. So the Colts and the Bills. So the Colts ran away with this game, literally. Can you say anything more about that running game? Jonathan Taylor is unbelievable. Ran up and down the Bills defense like nothing. 41-15, Colts win over the Bills. Now, here's the thing. Keep in mind, national media guys all year long have been trying to sell you on the fact of how great that Bills defense is. They're the best defense in the NFL. I've been saying all along, no, they're not. They've been, yes, they are. I've been, no, they are not the best team in the NFL defensively. And I've said, the Bills, haven't beat anybody that's going to the playoffs. Everybody they beat is a poor and below average team. When they go against average and above average teams, the Bills can't win. Here's another example, going against Indianapolis, getting blown out 41-15. I told you, it seems like I know a lot more than these national media guys when it comes to football. I'm telling you, they've been screaming how great the Bills are, how they're one of the favorites in the AFC, how they're one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl if it's not going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. And I've been saying, no, they're not. Look, NFL is just like college football. You have 4 elite teams, and then you have a set of B teams who are trying to be in the Elite Four, and then you have a set of C teams. Basically, the season's over, and they're looking forward to next year. Now, in the C category, truth be told, this season's been interesting, and there aren't a lot of C teams at the moment. The B category is a lot bigger than the C category, but the thing is keep in mind, that C category here in the upcoming couple of weeks is going to grow a lot because we're going to get some separation between teams here, but so far this year, everybody's been bunched up in the middle, and you only have the top 4. Now, my top 4 versus what the national media's top 4 is completely different. We'll get into that in a minute. But again, they've been trying to feed you on the fact that the Bills are one of the best defenses and one of the best teams in the AFC. And every time they go up against somebody with a winning record, they get blown up. And of course, don't forget they got blown up by Jacksonville. So they're just fundamentally not really a good team to begin with. They're in the pack of B. They're not in C, obviously, but they are definitely without a doubt in the pack of B. The Bills are nowhere near the top of pack B either, by the way. They're just not. Lions and the Browns. Oh, there's so many things to discuss about this one. Look, Lions haven't won a game yet. They've got one tie. That was against the Steelers. Here they are against the Browns. They lose 13-10. Now, there's a lot of things, a lot of discussions happening in regards to this particular game. There's a lot of reasons why these discussions are happening, but here's the simplicity of it, okay? Obviously, the conversation is Baker Mayfield. It's all about Baker Mayfield, what he can and cannot do for the Browns. Should they or should they not extend his contract? Is he or is he not a $200 million quarterback? Obviously, the answer is no. No, he's not. I think most people in the national media now agree and see that he's not a $250 million contract. But he is a capable quarterback. However, he is not somebody you'd give that big contract to. Look, here's the thing. Baker, I get it. He's hurt. But here's the problem. Baker is not just a guy who's an average quarterback, because really he is. He's an average to an above average quarterback. That's what Baker Mayfield is. He's a guy who can get you some wins, but he's not a guy who can carry your team to wins. All right, that's the difference between elite versus non-elite. But here's the thing. It isn't just his play on the field as much as it is the bad decision-making that he has in regards to whether he should or should not play. He's injured. He has injuries. He's throwing him out there. It seems like he's throwing him out there just to make excuses for the bad play. And the thing is so my thing is this, because this is simple. This is football. It's black and white. You don't play as many games as you do in Major League Baseball or the NBA. So if you're hurt, if you're injured and you cannot help your team, and right now you can see Baker Mayfield not helping his team, then you should just sit on the sidelines, let your backup play. That's a decision the coaches should make, the general manager should make. They should sit Baker down. They should tell him, look, you're done. You're out. When you're healthy, we could talk about you coming back in. He is just hurting the team because, look, 13-10, you barely beat the lowly Lions. So even though the Browns got the win, fans, keep your brown bags on your heads. The brown bag Browns are still in full effect. Baker Mayfield is not a team that could he's not a quarterback that could put a team on his shoulders, and he barely beat the Detroit Lions 13-10. And again, you can make the excuses if you want to. You could throw them all out there about how injured he is. Fine. Then he shouldn't be out there, because you guys on the national media side were the ones that were screaming as soon as OBJ left. Oh, what a great plus it was for that offense. He was what was needed, was to get removed. Once you remove OBJ, look at them improve. And again, it was against a struggling Cincinnati team who found their footing yesterday a little bit, and we'll discuss that here in a moment. But it was against a struggling Cincinnati team, and ever since then, guess what? OBJ's still been gone. I don't see this alleged powerful offense you guys have been bragging about in the national media. Baker Mayfield, if you're that injured, quit using them as excuses. Quit using them as excuses. Take yourself out of the lineup. Let the backup play. You're only hurting your team. Guaranteed, if you play like the garbage game you played yesterday, in next week's game, you're going to get yet another L because you are not able to do it. Again, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Because of the injuries you have sustained, you are not able to do it. I question whether you're good enough anyways, but with injuries, you obviously are not able to do it. So instead of letting people talk negatively about you, take yourself out, make a smart decision, let the Browns have a chance to win. If you continue to play, you're not going to win. Washington continuing to be a surprise team. Look, they're probably playing some of the best ball in the NFL right now, along with, surprise, surprise, guess who? And no, it's not the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're playing some of the best ball in the NFL, along with the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. Washington, Heineke, doing it. Now, I know I said Panthers are going to be more powerful now with Cam Newton at the helm. And look, the Panthers did play a better game yesterday. Look, Cam only had his first full week of practice, still learning the playbook. Going to take him another week probably to get fully acclimated. Is it going to be in time for the Panthers to make a run? Now, that's the question. They should have still, I thought, have gotten the win over Washington, but it looks like Washington has found their footing, defensively especially, and they're finding their footing offensively. Heineke's getting into a rhythm. He's getting more confidence. He's getting better. Ron Rivera doing a better job with play calling. Maybe it's because he's able to open it up because Heineke is now getting confident in his skills. And with that being said, Washington is no longer the stepchild. So will Carolina be able to, again, get on a roll with Cam Newton? I think they will. Will it be in time? That's the question. With that being said, Washington is on a roll with Taylor Heineke. Again, victorious over the Panthers, 27-21. Texans beating the Titans. A lot of people want to bash on the Titans. We're going to get into that in a little bit. A lot of people want to bash on the Titans. 22-13 Texans win. Look, Titans 6 in a row. 6 wins in a row. You're not going to win every game in the NFL, and they didn't go and get blown up by Houston. They lost. There's a difference between getting blown up and embarrassed like you should not do, like the Dallas Cowboys, and there's a difference when you just lose a game that you shouldn't lose, but if you lose, at least you lost it because the other team was hungry, they smelled blood, and they really needed the win. That's what the Houston Texans are right now, and they got it 22-13. We'll get deeper into that conversation in a minute. 49ers doing what they should do against the Jaguars, blowing them up 30-10. Am I convinced that Kyle Shanahan is back? Well, that is a conversation we're going to have. Probably not today, but remember that I made that statement. Am I convinced that Kyle Shanahan is back? We're definitely going to have that conversation in a future podcast. We're not going to do it today. But 30-10, 49ers blow up the Jaguars. Dolphins beating the Jets. No surprise there. The surprise is how close the game was. It should have been a larger deficit, in my opinion. Dolphins beat the Jets, though, however, 24-17. Eagles, Saints. No surprise to me. I don't know why the national media guys are all surprised. I said the Eagles are getting better. The run game's getting stronger. Jalen Hurts is getting confidence. He's figuring it out. Game slowing down. The coach is doing a great job. They are doing a great job of execution on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Eagles blew up the Saints 40-29. Again, Eagles, 49ers, Washington. They're playing some of the strongest football in the NFL at the moment. Now, That could change. I'm not making a knee-jerk reaction into anybody's rankings or anything along that lines. I'm just saying it's easy to see when you watch the hottest football being played right now is Eagles, 49ers, Washington. Then there's the Bengals and the Raiders. Bengals found their footing, got a W, did a great job, 32-13 over the Raiders. Again, the Raiders are done. Their season's over. No coach, no direction, too much outside noise, too many problems in that locker room. They have a lot of questions they're going to have to answer during the offseason. We'll have to watch and see how that plays out. Bengals, again, blow up the Raiders, 32-13. Cowboys, Chiefs. Again, I thought the national media said the Cowboys were one of the best teams in the NFL. Yet, every time they go up against somebody who might go to the playoffs or has a winning record, the Cowboys can't win. But yet, the Cowboys, all their victories are against below-average teams. And because they're against below-average teams and they look impressive sometimes only, against below-average teams, national media tries to feed you the garbage of how great the Cowboys are. They're one of the best teams. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. Keyshawn Johnson still running his mouth saying that, and we're going to get into that here in a minute. Cardinals, without their starting quarterback, Kyler Murray, go into Seattle. And Seattle, again, like the Raiders, it's over. A lot of problems, a lot of questions. It's not outside noise. You got a problem with a lot of it has to do, by the way, with Pete Carroll. But you got a lot of problems. It starts with Pete Carroll, and it moves on with Russell Wilson. The comments he made in the offseason about him wanting to leave and all of the things that have been going on behind closed doors, obviously they're all coming to fruition in regards to them becoming problems. And the outside noise is not outside noise. It's inside the locker room noise. Seahawks got problems. And Pete Carroll is a part of it, but it's not Pete Carroll. A lot of people want to blame Pete Carroll for what's going on. And I'll say this, because this is simple. National media guys want to blame Pete Carroll for the Seahawks and how they're playing and the fact that they're not winning. That's not the case at all. Russell Wilson, injured, out 3 games, comes back, not playing well, hand not adjusted, not fully healed. He's having a problem with his timing. He's having a problem reading defenses. He hasn't done it in a few weeks. It's going to take him a while to get back into it. Then you have to add in the fact that if you look at the reality of the situation, Seahawks don't even have a real good shot at making the playoffs to begin with. Add all those things in. Russell's going to take his time getting back in there, playing, but he's probably really, in all honesty, just trying to build some good tape so he can get some good money to wherever he ends up playing next year, because it's pretty much no doubt that he's not going to be a Seahawk next year. I don't doubt it in any way, shape, or form that he's going to move on. Seahawks are done. Pete Carroll's not the problem. It's not the coaching. That's not what the issue is. You have a roster problem. Yes, Pete Carroll's responsible for that part. Yes, they could be a lot stronger, and he's probably not the guy who should be making the shots as far as who's going to be on the roster. That I understand. That I agree with. There's no problem or issue with those remarks at all. But he's not the reason why they're losing. You have your quarterback, who the team relies on, not being able to get it done because he's injured, and he's not back in his rhythm role yet because he can't read the defenses right now. He's just having a hard time. He's having a hard time with his hand. You can tell by the way he's throwing. He's overthrowing, underthrowing. Very, very rarely is he able to get into the outside motion, running outside the pocket, throwing the ball, and have it be accurate. He's just not in that mode as of yet. So with that being said, Cardinals, with a backup quarterback, beat the Seahawks 23-13. Pete Carroll, again, is not the problem. Okay, Steelers, Chargers, 2 average teams. Again, that's all you could say. 2 average teams. Steelers lose 37-41. Neither defense very good. I like all the excuses national media guys like to make for the Steelers. Oh, they're missing TJ Watt. If they would have just had TJ Watt. One player doesn't make the team. One player doesn't make the defense. Would he make the defense a little bit better? Yes. Does he make them a steel curtain? No. Has he made them one in any game that he's been in this year? Absolutely not. So that's just, to me, an excuse. Not to mention, by the way, has TJ Watt, from my understanding and what I've seen, been able to stay healthy an entire season as of yet? No. So durability is part of ability. So you guys are overestimating the ability of TJ Watt, obviously. Tonight, Giants, Bucks. Interesting. We don't know what's going to happen with the Giants. because honestly, they got a shot against the Bucs tonight. Buccaneers, again, I said it. They're not Super Bowl champs. They're not going back to Super Bowl, despite what the national media wants you to believe, trying to tell you they're one of the top teams in the NFL. No, they're not. I would not be surprised if they lost a third game in a row tonight to the Giants. Giants are at full strength, my understanding. They're even going to have Saquon Barkley back in the lineup. However, they're probably going to make the coaching mistake of limiting him on snaps, which would be a huge mistake and a disadvantage for the Giants. And that could be the one thing that makes the game unravel for them, because if they just went and ran at Tampa Bay, I believe they could do clock management, ball control, and they could win this game. But again, are they going to do it? That's the question. So real quickly, before I get into the other thing I want to talk about in regards to the NFL, national media. So Colin Cowherd, Keyshawn Johnson, Greeny, all these guys making excuses for the Cowboys. Oh, it's not the Cowboys' fault. Dak Prescott was missing 5 plays. No, he wasn't. That's a lie. Again, I love how they come up with excuses. Dak Prescott missing 5. No, he wasn't. 2 of the guys they're complaining about were on defense. One guy was on the offensive line. So next man up for that deal. And 2 wide receivers. One played for the first half and got injured at halftime and couldn't come back in the second half. The other one was out for the game. So that's the real story. So was Dallas really shorthanded? Was Dak Prescott really shorthanded? The answer to that question is obviously no. In the first half of that game, they did absolutely nothing, and they stayed inept in the second half. Why? Because the Cowboys can't play against anybody who has a winning record. They don't have the ability. They don't have the coaching staff. They don't have what it takes to play against anybody with a winning record. Again, the Cowboys are an average team. You put them against average to above average teams, and they cannot win. I don't know where Keyshawn Johnson and all these guys get the idea that the Dallas Cowboys are one of the best teams in the NFL when every time they go up against anybody with a winning record, they lose. That should show you that they're just a bunch of Dallas Cowboy homers, because they're just screaming that Dallas is a great team and one of the best teams because they're Dallas Cowboy homers. But they are not, if you're living in reality, they are not able to beat a team with a winning record. That should tell you right there, your team that you keep picking to go to the Super Bowl and you keep saying is fine, and when they get all their stars back, they're going to be fine. First of all, what team has all their stars? And you guys are always the ones screaming how injuries are part of the game, right? So you discount other teams because you're not a homer for them when they're injured and they're losing, and you still discount them and you don't give them any credit for playing even though they're injured. 49ers, another perfect example. They've been injured all season long. You guys never said how good they'd be when they got their players back. All you said was they're bad. It's over. It's Kyle Shanahan. He should be in the hot seat. Maybe that's what the problem is. Isn't that what you guys said all year long? And I'm with you in the Kyle Shanahan thing. And by the way, I was the first one to ever say that. But I'm with you on the Kyle Shanahan thing. And I'm still not sold on Kyle Shanahan. And again, I'll talk about that in a future podcast. However, 49ers injured. Nobody gave them any credit for that. They just said how it was over. It was done. They don't believe in them. They're bad. And then they moved on to the next and kept going to the Cowboys. Now the Cowboys lose, and all of a sudden injuries matter. Hypocritical statements get made. Colin Cowherd, Greeny, Keyshawn Johnson. Oh, if they were only fully staffed and Dak Prescott wasn't missing 5. He's not missing 5 players. He was missing 1 wide receiver. He was missing 1 guy on the offensive line. And then he was missing 2 guys on defense, which don't affect him in any way, shape, or form. And then he finally lost another wide receiver after halftime. But by the way, what happened in the first half when they didn't put any points on the board? I'm just sitting here wondering what your excuse for that is. Again, living in reality, because I'm not a Dallas Cowboy homer, they didn't get it done because they cannot beat teams with winning records. And I'll go further to hit the home run and prove the point. You guys heard of a team? They're called the Baltimore Ravens. They won yesterday, minus their starting quarterback. And they, since the beginning of the season, have had the busiest IR in all of the teams in the NFL. 17 guys go down in their roster to the IR. Ravens continue to win. Only have 3 losses this year. won yesterday without their starting quarterback. So good teams find ways to win. Cardinals, without Kyler Murray, without their number one wide receiver, without their number one defender. Oh, well, not number one, maybe their number two defender. Minus a couple of other guys in the secondary, I believe it is. Still found a way to win over Seattle. So wait a minute. If good teams are finding ways to win, and according to Colin Cowherd, injuries, that's what derails bad teams, well, then how do you make the excuse that the Cowboys are injured, but yet you repeatedly, Colin Cowherd, say how injuries only derail bad teams, but yet you use that as an excuse, although you do a play on words and say, I'm not making an excuse. This is a reason why the Cowboys lost. No, reason and excuse are one and the same. One and the same. There is no difference. I love how they like to do the word game and try to play on words. A reason why somebody lost is an excuse as to why somebody lost. And how is it that the Cowboys can lose and have injuries be the excuse for why they lose, but other teams don't get that from you? I'm just an inquiring mind and wondering how that works. Because again, Ravens missing their starting quarterback, running back room still injured, wide receiver room still injured, 17 players. I got to look and see how many players are still on the IR for the Ravens. I know it's still quite a bit, yet they still win. Cardinals have their main players injured and hurt. They still win. 49ers still missing a bunch of players. They're winning. I'm just looking at all these other teams that continue to win. Buccaneers, by the way, on their 2-game losing streak, you guys are still making excuses for them, and you're using injuries as an excuse because 2 receivers, Gronk and Antonio Brown, are out, and that's your excuse why Tom Brady's having a hard time and he's struggling? Really? So only 2 players are out for the Buccaneers, and that's your excuse why Tampa Bay's losing. But again, Cardinals win. 49ers win. I mean, I'm just looking up and down the list. Ravens win. But you guys keep talking. Packers lost a tough one against the Vikings. Tough one, right? Aaron Rodgers injured. Played like a champ, even though he's injured. And they have plenty of injuries on their defensive side of the ball and still almost pulled one off against Minnesota, which, by the way, that's an acceptable loss. Again, when you lose like that, that's an acceptable loss. All right? That's acceptable. But when you look at all these other games and all these other teams, Chiefs, are they really good? No, they beat an average team. One of these 2 average teams had to win, Cowboys or the Chiefs. Chiefs are the one with the win. Are the Chiefs going to roll and do what everybody says? Because, again, here's the hilarious part. Let's get off the Cowboys now and move on to the Chiefs. We already proved that the Cowboys are not the best team in the NFL. That's easy. We already proved that Keyshawn and Colin and Greeny, they're all Cowboy homers and they make excuses. But again, there is no excuse when the record states the Cowboys go up against teams with winning records, cannot beat them. Fact, not fiction, undisputable. Don't want to hear your sorry excuse about injuries because they haven't been injured all season long. So that is a load of garbage. Now let's move on to the Chiefs. The Chiefs. Everybody's screaming. Keyshawn Johnson, one of them. Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. No, they're not. No, they're not. Ravens are better than the Chiefs. No doubt about it in my mind. Ravens are better than the Chiefs. Titans are better than the Chiefs. Look, if you listen to the national media guys, they're going to tell you the best teams in the NFL, if we go top 4. Again, I believe there's only 4, so let's only go top 4. They're going to tell you Cowboys, Chiefs, and then they're going to tell you the Buccaneers, and then they're going to kind of move around in regards to who's the best in the 4th team. Some people and most people will tell you it's the Packers. Other people will try and squeeze in the Patriots. And then very few will give any respect to the Cardinals, which, by the way, is funny. Best team in the NFL record-wise, and yet, that's another thing. Best team in the NFL record-wise, and yet, Cardinals get no respect from the national media guys. So again, who did I tell you that the national media guys say the best? They say the best is the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, and then they're going to probably go, if you go through most of them, and what they're mostly going to vote for in the 4th position is going to be the Packers. All right. That's not necessarily naming them 1 through 4, position-wise how they're going to rank them. I'm just saying who the 4 teams are going to be. So they're going to have the Packers. They'll have the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Buccaneers. Okay? 3 out of the 4, no doubt about it, are not it. Cowboys, not it. Chiefs, not it. And, of course, the Buccaneers, not it. Now, here's the funniest thing about it. The Chiefs, they always say, oh, when you got Patrick Mahomes, really? Patrick Mahomes? You mean the guy who just sloppily throws the ball, throws 50-50 balls, and for a while he was getting away with it, but now defenses know it's coming, so he's not able to get away with it, and he didn't throw for a single touchdown yesterday? That Patrick Mahomes? You mean the Patrick Mahomes who threw 1 interception yesterday, but not 1 single touchdown yesterday, and they only won a game 19-9? You mean that team? That's the great explosive offense that everybody's supposed to be worried about in the AFC? Really? That's it, huh? That's funny. That's hilarious. Chiefs, better than the Ravens? Not. Better than the Titans? Not. There's no way in the world they're better than either one of those two. Matter of fact, I'll even make the simple argument, and this one's even simpler, that they're not even better than the Colts. Jonathan Taylor and the Colts would destroy that weak defense of the Chiefs. Now, has the Chiefs defense maybe, and again, I use the word maybe because the level of competition the Chiefs have played the last few weeks hasn't been that good. So, has the defense gotten a little bit better in regards to Kansas City? Yes. Has it gotten good enough to go to the playoffs and make a run for the Super Bowl? No. How about that offense for the Chiefs? Have they gotten better to make a Super Bowl run? No. Is Patrick Mahomes playing out of his mind and somebody that defenses should be scared of? No. Again, yesterday, he threw a pick, didn't throw a touchdown. 19 points is all they scored. Cowboys, again, am I surprised? No. They can't win against a winning team. Chiefs finally got a win against a winning team, but again, against a mediocre, average team in the Cowboys. Cowboys got a lot of losses probably coming because they got to play Washington, they got to play Philadelphia, they got to play New Orleans. I don't have a lot of confidence in Cowboys, despite what the national media guys try to tell you. I don't have a lot of confidence in the Cowboys, and I don't know why anybody would. And as far as the Chiefs, do I have a lot of confidence in them? I don't have a map in regards to the rest of their schedule, so I am not able to see who they play the rest of the season. But again, I kind of know who the Cowboys have coming up, and I think the Cowboys are in a lot more trouble than everybody thinks. Yes, the Cowboys might bounce back because they get the Raiders on Thanksgiving, but you know what? Who's surprised? They get another lay me down team on Thanksgiving so that they can look good on national TV when they have most of the spotlight. Big surprise on the scheduling there. But otherwise, when they go up against everybody else and they got to play the rest of these teams, and I'm including the Giants, I'm even worried about the Cowboys if they got to play the Giants. I'm not looking at a bunch of gimme victories anymore. Washington's no joke. Philadelphia is no joke. Giants just might be good enough to pull it off. And I know the Cowboys got to play the Saints, and I don't have confidence in the Cowboys going against the Saints. Why? They're a team with a winning record. So I don't have confidence in the Cowboys because they can't beat anybody with a winning record, and I don't see it. So for everybody to sit there and scream about how the Cowboys are the best team in the NFL, that's a joke. For Kansas City and their excuse of saying how they're the best team in the AFC, and as long as you got Patrick Mahomes, that's the reason why. Well, show me this great Patrick Mahomes because I'm not seeing it. He's still the same crappy quarterback he's been all year long. There's nothing special about what Patrick Mahomes is doing. He's looked like garbage all year, and he looked like garbage again yesterday. He didn't do anything special. He didn't look special. And I like how you guys like to talk about, what they did against the Raiders and how he's back and he looked great. What did he do? He threw like 1 touchdown pass, and it was a garbage 50-50 ball that he got away with. That was it. He didn't do anything special. That offense hasn't popped off and dropped 45 consistently on anybody. It's amazing, these guys. So I don't know. I laugh. Top 4 is simple. Green Bay, and unlike the national media, I'll give respect even though I'm not a fan, Arizona Cardinals. Titans still in the top. You can't win every game. They won 6 in a row. They've been doing it without Derrick Henry. They're going to continue to win without Derrick Henry. I guarantee you that. And they lost to a team that got hungry, smelled blood, needed the win, went after it. They were hungrier than the Titans yesterday. That's fine. Everybody's going to have an off day, by the way. Quarterback for the Titans did yesterday. He had an off day and yet still battled, still fought, still were in it all the way till the fourth quarter, lost 22-13. So Titans are still there. And without a doubt, Ravens. However, on the heels of the Ravens, on the heels of the Titans, here comes the Indianapolis Colts without a doubt. Without a doubt. And on the heels of this top 4 list also comes the 49ers, and the Eagles. So those are three teams that everybody better start to take real serious. 49ers, Eagles, Colts, need to take them serious. Right now, though, in the top four for me, Packers, Cardinals, Titans, Ravens, up on their heels are three teams, still with a lot to prove, though. So even though they're on their heels and they're in the upper echelon of that B slot, they are not there yet because they still got a lot to prove, but they're looking good. They're looking real good. Eagles, 49ers, and of course, who else did I say? I said the Eagles, I said the 49ers, and I said the Indianapolis Colts. Those are the three teams that are without a doubt the teams that everybody needs to be on the lookout for. All right, so NFL playoff picture. I was going to do this today, but it looks like I'm out of time. I'm going to save this till tomorrow. So tomorrow we will kick it off with the results from tonight's game between the Bucs and the Giants, and then we will get into where we are playoff-wise as of this moment. You guys enjoy tonight's action, and we will talk tomorrow.